Hello and a warm welcome to a special report on Agricultural Research Council of Nigerian Television, ARCN. My name is Bilkisu Suleiman. The International Institute of Tropical Agriculture paid a courtesy visit to the Executive Secretary of Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, Professor Garba Hamidu Shaributu, to revalidate their collaboration which has been in existence over the years. The International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA, is a non-profit institute that generates agricultural innovation to meet Africa's most pressing challenge of hunger, malnutrition, poverty, and natural resource degradation. The head of station of IITA, Dr. Beatrice, started by thanking the Executive Secretary of the Council for granting the meeting in a very short notice. She highlighted some of the policies and programs the IITA do, especially the youth, iYouth, where youth carries out research.
We are so glad that the ES so graciously accepted to receive us here today. We actually just want to let you know that there was a change in leadership at the station. Professor Sani, who used to be the head of station, is now with the Ministry. So we know Iita has always had this collaboration with the council, and we don't want there to be any break. We'll just continue and work together. Iita, as we all know, actually works on crops. We have had several of us working with animals. We focus on crops, but we cannot do crops without the animals. So we have a youth wing. We call them the iYouth, and they do a lot of work with especially the fisheries. I'm sure that sometime they will also find the opportunity of knowing what they can benefit from the institute. From the council. They are not here today because at the station we don't have that many staff. Coincidentally, the two of us who are available today are working on yam. We have other scientists that work on cassava, mostly on maize, but they are based in Ibadan. They come to the station, they carry out their research and return. So I don't know how many of us have visited IITA Abuja before. How many, please? Just a few. It will be good for you to get there so that you know what we are doing. Because we have researchers in Ibadan and Kano. They come to the station to carry out their research activities. So if you go there now, you will see cowpea, soybean, maize, yam, cassava. It's plantain, banana, the last of the the IITA's mandate crop that we don't really have presence here at the station. So we have all those crops, they are there, and we are actually spread across Africa. It used to be sub-Saharan Africa, but with the one CG now, we are actually all over Africa. Coincidentally, our new CG will be resuming today at Ibadan. So Dr. Sanginga left us last year. We had an interim DG that has been on, and the new DG will be taking over today at Ibadan. We have close links with the research of different research institutes in Nigeria, just as we have in the other countries. So the research that we carry out at IITA, we actually pass on the findings to the various governments, and they know how to trickle it down to the grassroots. We are fortunate you can say this is a new variety that can be released. So while this is going on, the farmers also benefit from the innovations that we have at Iita. I've just mentioned the crops that we work on, and there is a lot that is going on with regards to those crops. We cannot, in this one sitting, talk about everything that we do there. But I will be a bit biased with regards to the crop that I'm working on, yam. And I will want to crave your indulgence to talk a little bit about yam, because my colleague here, he is a yam breeder, and he has been able to release a lot, he has done a lot with yam. Yam is one of those crops that we cannot release as many varieties as fast as we do with the cereals. But he has had a way with the crop, and they have released new varieties, which we have in Nigeria. We have how many? About 9. Yes, between 2019 and now, there are 9 new varieties that have been released, both the white yam and water yam. And we have water yam that is poundable. If they actually boil it, you will not know that it is water yam, except you are told. So each day we try to improve on the qualities, and as the consumers, we first find out from the consumers what they really want, and then they will go to come up with those varieties. We all know how our parents are producing yam. They will cut large chunks of yam and they will bury in the soil, 500 grams, 600 grams, up to 1,000 grams for those really ceremonial tubers. We have tubers that they will produce. One tuber will weigh up to 15 kg, the type that they use for weddings and special occasions. So in the seed systems, we know that a major bottleneck is that of seed production. About 5 years ago, we went to the market to find out the cost of seed yam, and we saw that to produce or to have seed yam to plant 1 hectare was going for between 750,000 and a million naira. That is about 5 years ago. How many people who want to go into yam production can afford that? Our farmers just do it because they keep their seed from one generation to the other. But then we have also been able to come up with very fast methods of multiplying yams. We have cleaned the yams of all the viruses and diseases, and we are now using the stems to propagate yam. So instead of using the tuber, we can eat all of the tuber and just a tiny piece of stem with 1 leaf attached to it. That is what we are using now for yam propagation. I don't know what level of information we have, but I will just want people to check the internet, www.iita.org. There's a lot that is going on at Iita, which it will be of benefit to the Agricultural Research Council. Although you people are more into policies, but some of those policies that we make, and all the policies are directly related to agriculture. So it is good to know what is happening at Iita and other research institutes, because for us at Iita, we work directly with NRCRI. So whatever technology we have, we pass it on to NRCRI and then to the farmers.
Testimony from some researchers of Iita shared some of the achievements and successes that have been recorded.
Not till today, we've had varieties of crops that are released. For example, Uta in the whole of the north. There are people running away from their fields because of Uta, which is trigal. Somebody came to the farm and said, they offered him a place and he was not going to use the place because of striker. I said, sorry, go and take the place. Come demand for IITA striker tolerant, striker resistant materials. Even in the design of our policies, we could actually use any field to plant maize. The plant population has left 53,000 plant population per hectare. We are now doing things in the area of plant population and certified correct. We're working with IAR in Samaru, and all the research institutions that have maize as part of their mandate. So, in the design of our policy, and in search of food sufficiency, the word is collaboration. We've heard about yam. We are hearing a little bit of maize. When you go to the area of cowpea, the center of biodiversity in the whole world is Kano. So you see a lot of cowpea varieties in Kano, and IITA has a station in Kano where cowpea is being bred. And extensive work has gone on also in that. I think it is good that we take advantage of the recent technologies, even in storage, double storage bag, that makes sure that insect does not ravage our cowpea without using chemicals. And when we talk about soybean, we have extensive research also on high-yielding varieties of soybean. When we talk about cassava, there is a struggle between the use of maize for feed and for human consumption. IITA has done a lot of research into cassava, where you can substitute the carbohydrate component of your feed using cassava. So many things have gone on in that area. It might not be new to some of us, but I want to emphasize that we are here to open the world of possibilities in the area of collaboration. And yes, I would encourage that you visit our headquarters in Ibadan, IIT Ibadan. You are always welcome. And with strategic heads of units or departments, once they get to IIT Ibadan, they will see much more. And then what we have been waiting for in Nigeria, in the area of food sufficiency, in all crops, will take place.
As a breeder, we not only sit, like release and then leave the crop there, but in our team, we are trying to create demand. So in the last 2 years, we try to expose all the release materials, at least at 8 states. And currently we are just exposing, I think, more than 1,500 farmers are getting exposed to our new materials. So the style we are working with the farmers and some other local institutions is just giving the material to them, and then they can evaluate by themselves and tell us which one they prefer in terms of the production as well as the consumption. And in the meantime, also we work together with the seed companies so that they can get planting materials. Whenever there is a demand, they can start multiplying those materials. So I think it's good for me to also visit this council, and I know that we all are here for purpose. Our purpose is just to help our farmers to be food self-sufficient and also economically well. So I think that's our whole, the objective of all of us here is that. So we want to see our better country, our better generation, also good, our better future with, so everybody become happy while living in this world.
Most of these crops are neglected, and based on what my ES said, the college is having a spin-off company, and we want to go into massive post-harvest processing, because sometimes you see all these Irish potato getting wasted. We want to try and make sure we do these Irish potato chips packaged and refrigerated, that is ready to fry, go to the market. So while I was going through your website, I saw nothing on those crops. And you think maybe it's not being produced everywhere in the country, because Nigeria has the comparative advantage to produce massive amount of all these crops, and they get wasted easily. So I want to know whether you'll be interested in doing something in that area. Number two, what about student training collaboration? We're thinking of sending some of our students for internship. So during the time, so that they will, like your center is here, though it's not far from, it's about 4 hours to our own location. And I want to see that kind of collaboration as part of what you are going to do with our supervising agents council.
In response, the Executive Secretary of ARCN, Professor Hamidu Sharubutu, highlighted the mandates of the Council and showed his happiness over the 1CG system.
Has some mandate, and this mandate directly linked to the activities of the IITA. Now, why do I say that? Before now, we had 15 agricultural research institutes until much recently when we brought the National Center for Agricultural Mechanization under the purview of the Council, C and K. Mandate A says that our responsibility is to advise the federal government on issues that have to do with agricultural research, training, and extension in our research institutes, in the universities, and wherever it is. This single mandate has given us the responsibility to continue to partner with all other organizations, the IITA, AATF, Africa Rice, ILRI, anything that has to do with agricultural research. We stand the ground to advise the federal government on such issues. Perhaps I need to say this at this point, that is the single mandate that gave Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria to be a member of the System Council of the Consultative Group for International Agricultural Research. With all humility, I represent Nigeria and Sub-Saharan Africa on that body. And I know that it is that that gave us. And perhaps I would like to say that I'm so happy that you have identified the fact that the system has transformed into a one CG system. I recall very much that when the controversy was going on, I'm sure that IITA was not then very, very comfortable. And all attempts to have the government of Nigeria to disagree, I stood my grounds. And I think if my TA is here, I'm about, because of course, I am the voice of Africa. So I also stood my ground to say we must join. And at the meeting where the final proclamation was made, I remember I was the one that stood up to say, as far as we are concerned, this is where we are going. Even when IITA at that time was not. And you see, lack of collaboration was what made us to have discordant views. Because while on our own part as ARCN, and of course I was linking up with my colleague from Kenya, while we saw reasonably the reason why we should bring ourselves together, Farah was not very, very comfortable. Farah was, so to say, instigating IIT, because what happens with the, the local agreement, what happens with the formation of the board, what happens with this. And so we had to insist that the executive management had to do further clarification, because the point there was that there was no enough consultation. But there can never be enough consultation. And so we stood by that. At a certain point in time, a letter was drafted from Iita to bring it to my minister to sign. And I told my minister that you cannot sign a letter without my knowledge, because it's the law that gave me the mandate. The law gave you the ministership, but the law also gave me the executive secretary and gave me the advice. And after due consultation with my directors, we stood our grounds that this will come. And I'm definitely sure that we're not going to regret it. So, expectedly, we're supposed to have a better collaboration in terms of policy. And you know, some of these policies that we advise the government on has to do with reaction of the international community to whatever we want. And this morning I was discussing with some of my people to say that we must come up with suggestions and layers with international bodies so that they will know specifically where we are going. You recall during the COVID, we needed a policy. And this policy is also going to touch on research. And if it is going to touch on research, there's a need for us to meet international bodies such as yours to say this is the direction that the government is going. Because if we don't do that, we will do research for the purpose of promotion. We'll do research just for the purpose of interest. But the ARCN has a greater responsibility to go into the field and also try to seek information so that whatever proposal is coming on board, we should be able to advise the government and say, well, this you must accept so that we will go in this direction. We're supposed to plan, manage, conduct, and promote research, including human resource development. If you go to some of our institutions, I had the privilege of being the provost of the Federal College of Animal Health and Production Technology. My boss is here. I asked the first vet there, public health. The second vet, public health. The third vet, public health. There was only himself that vet into pharmacology. Now, if you go to most of our institutions, you will find out that people are concentrating more in one area. Whether it's because it's marketable or because it's cheaper to graduate in it, I don't know. But we have a responsibility to say, hey, this is where we are going. If IITA were not very strict about the nature and diversity of the training of their personnel, we wouldn't have produced the likes of the President of the African Development Bank. Because he would have gone elsewhere and be doing something that is not relevant to us. So we have a responsibility to look at the structure of our scientists and say, hey, we don't have this. Like, for example, breeders. We don't have enough breeders. If you go for rice, they just mention Bashir, they'll mention one other person. If you go for maize, they'll mention one person. So you find out that even if we want you to train some people for us, which you have been doing, you should be able to say, hey, this is where we think we need. So this is a very good area. But most importantly, I think, we're supposed to promote collaboration. It's a mandate. I know, as a law, if we don't do that, we are criminalizing our operations. We are supposed to collaborate with international donor organizations as well as projects like your own for us to be able to have it happen. Now, why is this collaboration important? Yes, you mentioned the fact that you are working very closely with NRCRI. Yeah, that is because of the mandate. But I have made it clear, even to the government, that without IITA, some of the novel discoveries, some of the technologies that we pride ourselves about wouldn't have been achieved. You have mentioned quite a few of them. Very, very few for that matter. Because if you want to explore the type of collaboration and what IIT has been able to do, we'll list them here, will not finish the day. In fact, at the end of it, I was even talking together with my colleagues to say, look, I think the number of varieties we are bringing out are so many that the farmers are now becoming more confused. So we are again trying to sit down and look at what are already on the field and review their productivity with the view of maybe advising either Iita or ATF to say, look, let's look at the performance of some of these ones that were developed before. Because I can tell you from the point of view of a farmer that I am even myself confused. I will set out this year to say this is the type of rice I'm going to plant, or this is the type of maize I'm going to plant. And because farmers, they learn from reciprocal colleagues, somebody will just come and meet me, hey, Prof, why don't you try this? As I'm about to try it, somebody will come again and say, why don't you try this? So it was because of that that we said, if we have products, we should be able to utilize this product. And that's why when we are reviewing our law, we went further to say, let us encourage our people to establish spin-off companies so that we will be able to promote what we think we have developed. So this is it. Of course, I have told you that we have 16 agricultural research institutes based on different mandates. And of course, you know the politics of establishing institutions. As it is now, we have more than 100 already about to be established. Every village wants to have a research institute because somebody will get to the House of Reps, go to the Senate, they just sit down and know that.
That's our special report on the courtesy visit of the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture to the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. My name is Bilkisu, saying bye.